Oh, nope, something's not right. Hey, what's going on everybody? Today I'm going to show you part 4 of how to create Spitspot with Swift and Xcode. This is the final part, and today we'll be focusing on scoring and labels. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so let's open up our shooter.xcode project like so, and make this a bit bigger. And like I mentioned before, we're going to be dealing with score and labels. So first thing we're going to do is create some labels. So I'm going to go right up here, delete some spaces, go down here, and I'm just going to create some labels. So my first label will be the tap to begin label that you see as soon as the view is loaded. So I'm going to create this by just simply saying var tap to begin label equal to sk label node. So this is a SpriteKit label node. It's basically what you use to show text on SpriteKit. So now this will be of the font named, like so. And the font name of this is going to be ST Heidi J-medium. Now you can actually find all of these font names if you want to head over to iOS Developer Tips. That is down in the description down below. But basically they have all of the families and all of the things that you can use inside of your application. I prefer ST Heidi J, but you can choose whatever you want. And now we also need to create another label, and this will be our score label. So just say var score label will be equal to an sk label node. Again, font named, and I'm just going to copy and paste this right here and like so. And then lastly, I just need to create my high score label like so, and then say sk label node, font named, paste that in, and tab it all in. So that is all our labels. Now let's go into our did move to view, and I'm just going to set them onto my scene. So first off, I'm going to say ttb label.text will be equal to, and this is going to be tap to begin, like so. And now I need to set the font size for my label, so I'm going to easily say ttb label.font size, like so, will be equal to, and this is just going to be 34, 35, around that area. Then I need to set the position of my label, so I'm going to say ttb label.position will be equal to, and this is actually going to be in the center of our scene, so I'm going to just go down here to my main ball.position and copy and paste that right in there. We're just basically putting it right inside of the scene, so scene.frame.width divided by 2, and our y value will be scene.frame.height divided by 2. Now as you can see, this main ball right here is a dark gray color, so I'm going to make my text a contrasting color by easily just saying ttb label.font color will be equal to, and this is going to be UI color.white color, like so. And now if I were to add this onto my scene right now, I say self.addChild, and I'm going to add the child of ttb label. And if I were to build and run this right now, you will see that it's not showing up, but there is 2 nodes. So it is there on the screen, we just can't see it. Now this is due to the fact that if we head over to our main ball.z position equal to 1, the ttb label right now is equal to 0, so it's right behind the main ball. So we need to go up here to our ttb label and just say ttb label.z position will be equal to, and this is going to be equal to 2.0. So we're basically just putting this right above our other label. And now if we were to build and run this, as you can see, I have tap to begin, like so. Now when you first load up my application, you actually see a fading in and out of this tap to begin. So let's do that right now. So just go back here, and we're going to create a variable right up here. So this will allow us to access this fading animation, to cancel it, and to restart it in other functions later on. So we can say var fading anim, like so, will be equal to, and this is going to be equal to an sk action. Open parentheses, close parentheses. And now right after the self.addChild, we want to add this action. So I'm going to say fading anim will be equal to an sk action dot sequence, like so. And the sequence will be a sequence of fading in and out. So I need to go open square bracket, close square bracket, and this is going to be sk action dot fade in with duration. We're going to make it fade in with a duration of 1.0. Then after that we do comma sk action dot fade out with duration, and we're going to make it fade out with the duration of 1.0 seconds like before. And then we want to repeat this action forever. So I'm going to say ttb label dot run action, and we're going to do sk action dot repeat action forever. And this action that we're going to repeat is our fading anim, like so. And now if we were to build and run this, we will have our tap to begin fading in and out of our scene, like so. So we have our tap to begin fading in and out of our scene, and this is prompting the person to press play. Now as you can see, as we click, the thing's not fading out of our scene forever, so we want to fix that later on, but first let's set up our high score and our score labels. So first off, I'm just going to do my high score label, so I'm going to say high score label dot text will be equal to, and this is going to be open quotation mark, close quotation mark, high score, colon, and then we do a slash, open parentheses, close parentheses, and this allows us to put a variable inside of the text itself. So this will be our high score variable, although we have not created that right now. So let's go up here, and I'm just going to say var score will be equal to 0, and var high score will be equal to 0. And then we will edit all that later on, but right now we're setting it equal to 0, or basically an integer. Now we go down here, and we're going to say high score label.text will be equal to, and again, right inside of these parentheses, we're just going to put in high score. Now we need to set the position of this, so I'm going to say high score label dot position will be equal to, and the position of this, you can actually take this right from our ttb label dot position. I'm just going to copy and paste this area right here, but we do want to change the y value to 1.3. This will make it higher up on the scene. If you want to make it even higher than that, you can go 1.2, 1.1, other things like that, but I'm going to make it 1.3. Then we also need to change the font color, so I'm going to say high score label dot font color will be equal to, and this is going to be a UI color, open parentheses, with an RGB value of 0.2, 0.2, and 0.2 with an alpha of 1.0. This is going to make it a dark gray color. And then we're just going to add this onto our scene. So say self.addChild high score label. And if I were to build around this right now, you shall see the high score label on our scene, like so. Right now the high score shows as 0 because we haven't really added anything onto this high score, but we will do that in just a minute. So let's head back over here, and I'm just going to work on the score label. So just say score label dot alpha will be equal to 0. So this is going to be hidden as soon as the view loads because we want the high score label to be the one on top of that. And then we need to set the font size to be score label dot font size will be equal to 35. Then we're also going to set the position of this, so say score label dot position will be equal to, and I'm just going to grab this position that's right up here, copy and paste that right in there. It's a CG point x value of scene frame dot width divided by 2 and scene dot frame dot height divided by 1.3. Then we're also going to change the color, so I'm just going to say score label dot font color will be equal to, and this is going to be equal to the same color that we have for our high score label. So I'm going to just, it's basically a UI color RGB value of 0.2, 0.2, 0.2 with an alpha of 1.0. And then we also need to add some text onto our score label. So I'm going to say score label dot text will be equal to, and this is going to be open quotation mark, close quotation mark. Inside of that you go slash, open parentheses, and we're just going to add some score in there. So this is our variable score that's going to be showing up in our score label dot text. Now right now let's actually take the score and add to it. So let's go down here, and we're going to go right down here to our collision bullet. So right after everything, I'm just going to say score plus plus. So this is going to make it so if the bullet collides with the enemy, then we're going to add 1 to our score every time. So now we also need to update our score label. So I'm going to say score label dot text will be equal to, and this is going to be open quotation mark, close quotation mark, slash, open parentheses, close parentheses, score. And right now, if you were to build around this would actually work perfectly, but our score label is not going to be showing up. So let's go ahead and make our score label show up by easily going down here to our touches began, and inside of this if statement that says if the game started equals false, then we want to run this. Like down here, this is where we're going to program all of the fading in of our game. So I'm just going to go right in here, and I'm going to say ttb label dot remove all actions, like so. This is going to remove the fading in and out animation off of our ttb label, and then we want to run another action, and this will be ttbl dot run action, and this will be sk action dot fade out with duration, and this is going to be a duration of 0.4 seconds. I just picked that randomly. You can really pick whatever you want. Our high score label, we're also going to make that hide. So we're going to say high score label dot run action, and this will be an sk action dot fade out with duration, and this again will be 0.4 seconds, like so. So as soon as we touch the screen and the game hasn't started yet, then we want our labels to go away with a duration of 0.4 seconds. But now we also want our score label to come in. So I'm going to say score label dot run action, and this is going to be an action of a sequence, really. So we're going to say sk action dot sequence, and this is going to be equal to a sequence of actions. We want it to wait until the game starts, and then we want to fade it in. So I'm going to say open bracket, close bracket, and this is going to be sk action dot wait for duration. I'm going to make it wait for a duration of 1 second, then comma, and we're going to make it skaction dot fade in with duration. So we're going to make it fade in with the duration of 1.0 seconds as well. Then tab all that in, and that should work perfectly. And so if we were to build and run this right now, you will see that I click tap to begin, everything fades out, and then our score label will be fading in just a minute. Now our score label did not fade in with the duration because it was actually added onto our scene. So let's head back over here to our did move to view. And right in here we need to say self.add_child, and we're going to add the child of our score label, like so. We didn't do that before. We were supposed to do that with our score label. Now let's build and run. And now as I click tap to begin, the score label pops on, and as you can see, as I hit all of the enemies, the score is growing. But now as you can see, the game has ended, but our score label is still there, and our high score and our tap to begin is gone. So let's go and fix that. So right inside of here in our collision main, right down here, we're going to want to add this function that's going to be, as soon as everything is done, we want everything to fade out again and our score to reset and other things. So right down here we have our collision main, and in this else statement right down here, basically meaning as soon as the game ends, we want all of these other things to happen. We want our score label to fade out, so I'm going to say score label.run action, and this action will be skaction.fade out with duration, and we're going to make it fade out with the duration of 0.5 seconds. You can pick whatever you want, really, just whatever looks good to you. And then we're going to need to go down here, and I'm going to say ttbl label.run action, and this will be equal to an skaction.fade in with duration. And we're going to make it fade in with the duration of 1.0 seconds. Now we want this TTBL label to continue its cool fading animation. So we're going to say TTBL label.run action, and then this will be an skaction.repeat action forever, and we can just type in fading anim, like so. And now that'll add that fading animation back onto our label. And now we also want our high score label to be put back onto the scene. So I'm going to say high score label dot run action, and this will be an skaction dot fade in with duration, and this duration will just be equal to 1.0 seconds. Now if we were to build and run this, I tap to begin my game, everything fades out, I hit a few people, la-di-da, and then as soon as I end the game, then everything pops back onto the scene and the tap to begin begins to start pulsing again. But as you can see, our high score is not going up, so let's go ahead and do that. So right inside of our collision main right here, this is where we're going to test our high score. So I'm going to say if the score is greater than the high score, like so, then we want other things to happen. What do we want to happen? Well, we first want to create an NS user default. Now this is going to save things in the background so we can access them later. So we're going to say let high score default be equal to, and this is going to be ns user defaults dot standard user defaults, like so. And then we're going to set our high score equal to our score. This is a temporary thing, but like I said, we want to save it in the background, so our high score is always going to be saved. So now we need to say high score default dot set integer. So we want to set this integer equal to a key that we can access later. So we're going to set the value. What value would you like to save? This is going to be our high score value for the key, and this is going to be equal to an open quotation mark, close quotation mark, high score. We will access this in just a moment. And then we also need to set our high score label.text equal to high score. So I'm going to say high score label.text will be equal to, and this will be open quotation mark, close quotation mark, high score, colon, and then slash open parentheses, close parentheses, and this is going to be able to put our high score variable inside of our text. Now if we were to build and run this right now, the high score would still not show up, so let's head up to our did move to view, and this is going to allow us to put the high score as soon as the view loads. So inside of this we want to say let high score default equal, and this is going to be an ns user defaults dot standard user defaults, like so. And then first thing we need to do is actually test to make sure that our high score has actually been saved. So we need to say if the high score default dot value for key, and the key is going to be again high score, like so, is not equal to nil, basically meaning that there's something inside of this. Now if this is true, then we want to say open curly bracket, enter close curly bracket, and we want to say high score will be equal to, and this is going to be a high score default dot value for key, and this will be our high score. So open quotation mark, close quotation mark, high score. And right now it's giving us this error saying we don't know if this high score default is equal to an integer. So we need to say as int, like so. So it is going to be an integer. Don't worry, computer, we know what we're doing. And then we just need to update our label again. So I'm going to say high score label will be equal to, and this is going to be equal to, open quotation mark, close quotation mark, high score, like so, colon, and then slash, open parentheses, close parentheses, and just put in our high score integer. Oh, and this should be high score label dot text, sorry. Now let's build and run. And as you can see, our high score has been 20 in the past. So now we tap to begin, and I can just start playing my game like so, and boom. Now if I click tap to begin again, you will actually see that our score is 8. So let's head back over here, and I'm just gonna go right down here to my touches began. And right inside of this if statement right here, I wanna say score is equal to 0. So I'm setting it equal to 0 again as soon as the game starts again. So now if we were to build and run this, tap to begin, everything fades out, we play the game like so. See if I can get better than 20. Oh no. Come on, you are the creator of this game. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now as you can see there, our high score is equal to 22. And we can just keep playing this game like so. Now again, I just did notice that our score was still at 22 when we played the game again. So we need to say score label.text will be equal to, and this is going to be equal to, open quotation mark, close quotation mark, slash, open parentheses, close parentheses, and just put in score. Now if we were to build and run this, you can tap to begin, our score will be now equal to 0, like so, and I can just keep playing it like so. Now for some reason I'm still getting this high score showing up every now and then. It's just a glitch that keeps happening. So let's head back over here, and I'm actually going to change the duration of my fade out animation. So right in here inside of our touches began, right in here with our high score label, I'm going to just change this equal to 0.2 and also do the same with this fade out with duration for my TTBL label. And I'm also going to change right inside of my collision main, inside of the else statement, I'm going to make the high score label fade in with the duration of 0.2. I'm going to make this a bit faster so our animations, they can't really mess up as much as they are right now. Build and run. And now we tap to begin, everything is fine. Let me see if I die real quick, and then I do tap to begin again. There we are. The high score seems to be disappearing more often than not right now. So this looks like I kind of fixed it. So yeah, just pay attention to how your animations are going, because it might be a glitch in the system that, like, the process is there's too many processes going on, so it just sacrifices some animation going on. So that might be the problem. Either way, let's head back over to our project, and I'm just going to delete this blue stuff right down here where it says 3 nodes and 60 FPS. So let's head back over to our game view controller.swift, and right over here we have our skview.shows FPS equal true and shows node count equals true. We just want to go ahead and delete that, or you can set it equal to false if you want. Either way, that works. Now if we were to build and run this, and now there's no more blue thing, we can tap to begin. And now another thing that's cool is if I were to hit Command Shift HH, cancel out of my program, go out, go back to shooter, and as soon as the view loads, you will see that the high score has been saved in the background. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more tutorials like this from me in the future, be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thanks again, and I will see you in the next one.